My name is Agreed.
Freeman would eventually undergo a total of 18 One North Texas family to live might be the start of something.
He said he may not even make it overnight. Is the Freeman's home away from home, where the first 6 months after his birth turned out to be the most crucial time for little Jerice Freeman and his family. The family spent mornings, noon, and nights at Cook's Children's Hospital in ICU. Here is where the test of hope, strength, and faith was a challenge for not only Jerice's mother, but for the entire family, including Jerice himself.
He was born prematurely and diagnosed with cerebral palsy. That day was the beginning of a wrenching family experience, the test of a lifetime.
I'm not gonna, just beat around the bush. He said, your son is very sick. He's not developed in a lot of areas, and he said he may not even make it overnight.
Little Jerice Freeman would eventually undergo a total of 18 surgeries and a childhood fraught with disabilities and pain.
When my son was lying on the floor one day and we was changing the trach, and the fear, I couldn't even hear him cry. I couldn't even hear him cry. I could only see it.
She asked God to intervene.
I can't take that pain, but give me something to comfort him. It was then that Jerice's mother recalled praying to God for 2 things. And as God can do all things, her prayers were answered. The vision came, the names, the story, everything.
The names of an assortment of stuffed characters which parody medical supplies. Her mission had begun.
Hardships, and then there is trauma.
One North Texas family faced both, and now one little boy whose doctors once gave only days to live might be the start of something big.
You want to hold cot while you're doing that?
Freeman somehow tapped into talents she never thought she had.
Never in a million years I thought I could write scripts.
Freeman developed the characters into a cartoon series called The Morning Buddy Show.
It's the Morning Buddy Show, starring Temp and all his friends, you know. It's the Morning Buddy Show.
Mommy! I don't feel so good.
Your forehead does feel a little warm. I'll go get the thermometer.
No!
Did you hear that, Temp? It sure sounded like a sick kid to me. It sure did, buddy. Come on.
Have you heard the latest? Well, I've heard some wild stories about a group of crazy characters known as the Morning Buddies. And just who are the Morning Buddies? Well, that's what I'd like to find out. They've been secretly helping sick children all across town, but as of yet, I really don't know who they are or what they do. They were last spotted here, outside the hospital. I'd sure like to meet them, wouldn't you?
Setho, I can't see anything. It appears my plane of vision has been temporarily blocked also, Temp. There it is. Let's go. I'm right behind you, my friend. Now let's see. How do you start these things? Okay, guys, we're almost there. Turn down the music, Daniel. Here we are, everybody. Now remember, everybody has a job to do in order for this mission to be successful. Then let's go! Hey there, little buddy. I'm Temp. What's your name?
Billy, you're kind of funny looking. What are you?
I'm a thermometer. I'm here to take your temperature.
Oh, no, you're not.
Okay, how about if my buddies and I sing you a little song?
Not a chance.
Hey guys, come on in. Okay, morning buddies, let's sing the Who's Who and What They Do song, so our new friend Billy here will know what we do.
Level, they could understand the Morning Buddy Medical Buddies.
And that's not all.
I want an educational learning channel for these children that would be fun, loving, and to soften any type of medical procedure any child have to go through.
Freeman sketches the characters herself, then sews them, and travels the city comforting children often terrified at the sight of a needle or an IV.
If you're asking yourself, is that the sound of an ambulance? Yes, it is. Often when we hear that sound, we know that someone is in need of medical attention. Some cases are much more serious than others. However, all medical issues are a concern as parents. Our biggest fear is when it's our very own children who are in need of medical attention. We find ourselves trying to comfort, protect them, keep them safe the best way we know how. Even saying, if I could only take their pain, when knowing we cannot. Well, parents, say no more. It's finally here. The way to comfort, educate, lessen parent and child medical fear, and entertain your children through their medical issues. No, it's not by dodging this runaway ambulance. It's what's inside of that ambulance. The Morning Buddy Medical Buddies. Hey, get back here. I haven't introduced you yet.
Calling all cars, be on the lookout for runaway ambulance!
Morning Buddy Medical Buddies are a group of cartoon characters that comforts, educate, lessens parent and child medical fear, and entertain them through their medical issues. Each character identify a specific medical supply and its use. I'll show you. There's Temp, our thermometer, Acabar, our alcohol, Cot, our cotton ball, Setho, our stethoscope, Bandio, our bandage. I can go on and on and on. So parents, when using medical supplies on your children, having one or all 10 of our Morning Buddy Medical Buddies can help describe and teach them that medical supplies are not harmful, but helpful and fun. Well, I see they're coming. I gotta go.
Freeman performs live wherever there are children who are in need of the buddies.
Great idea,
isn't it?
It is just in it. You know, a guy wouldn't have come.
And you've taken a kid screaming and afraid of all this. You know, all that stuff is being pushed at him. The stethoscope and.
Oh, that was me when I had my upper GI.
Yeah,
no.
Here, have a medical one.
Do you have a doll for that? All right, Tracy's going to join. What's our subject now?
All right, it's called Medical Buddies, and a woman in Texas, and she is here, she has a special needs child, and she developed these so her kid would not be afraid. He had 24 surgeries, he was premature, but it's for all kids to teach them so they're not so scared about medical equipment.
Well, stay tuned for Medical Buddies and Morning Buddies when we come back.
Welcome back, everybody. We are talking with Teresa Freeman and Gina Stoddard, and all these characters are called Medical Buddies. And Teresa has a special needs child, and he was born prematurely, right?
Severely premature. He came at 24 weeks.
Wow.
They didn't give him overnight. He is now very well.
Okay, so when he was born, he was in the hospital a lot. I think he has 24 surgeries or something like that.
He's had 24 surgery, and during the time that we were getting juries to his good health, so to speak, I asked God for two things: comfort him and secure his future. And when I did that, you know how you got to watch what you pray for. He gave it to me and then some. And he gave me the vision, he gave me the names, he gave me the songs, he taught me how to package it, put it together. Everything you see here is pretty much just from family and friends, great friends who helped me pull it together.
So it was almost, it sounds like it was almost one of those things you were compelled to do this. I mean, when these visions came to you, were you waking up in the middle of the night drawing sketches? And
yes, ma'am.
This is just such a great idea. This is Teresa Freeman, and she developed Medical Buddies, Morning Buddies, Medical Buddies. I'll ask you in just a minute why you call it Morning Buddies, Medical Buddies. But by the way, she has also developed these programs, videos and songs in Spanish and also in Chinese. This is Gina Stoddard, and she is a mom, and she has a 7-year-old daughter, right? And you guys were friends in Arlington, Texas, worked at the same church, and then Teresa started using the Medical Buddies on your daughter.
Right.
So what kinds of reactions did you get from her? What did you see?
She is crazy about the Medical Buddies. I mean, we've
like
listened,
Barney.
Yeah, we've listened to the video over and over. We know all the songs, and she'll watch it. And can we watch it again, Mom? And she collects. She's got 3 or 4 of the buddies. You know, every time she wants another one. You know, so.
Were you experiencing at some point you had to take her to a doctor, and she was afraid?
Oh, you know, when they have to get a shot, especially when she has to get a shot, she starts freaking out before she even. Oh, me too.
Yeah.
But I've actually watched Teresa's son go into surgery holding on to his buddy, you know, and that's awesome. I've been there a couple of times when he's gone through surgery, and just, you know, she's like, "You want me to get one of the buddies?" And it just makes him feel better.
Well, how many of the buddies are there, Teresa?
We actually have 10 that are made right now, but we do have skit shows with the children at many different schools. And children, you know, back then when you put the thermometer in your mouth, nowadays we have a lot of fancy thermometers going on, but they would really be afraid. My son, he was really scared.
Yeah.
So what? Give us one line. We're running out of time. Give us one line of the song for Temp.
It's the Morning Buddy Show, starring Temp and all his friends, you know.
Oh, I'm already attached. Okay, thank you so much. Coming back, we're going to introduce you to more of the Medical Buddies. Go to ArkansasMatters.com a little bit later on, and you can watch all these segments. And if you've forgotten the information, and there is a website. It's Uthfull, Uthfull.
is Teresa Freeman, and yes, this is Jerice Freeman. We hope that by sharing our story with you, it will get to the many families who are in need to know that there is a way to ease both parent and child medical fears. As you have seen, our journey wasn't an easy one. What I thought was a tragedy turned out to be two hidden blessings: the birth of my son, Jerice Freeman, and the birth of the Morning Buddy Medical Buddies. I'd like to take a moment to show you how these characters can benefit our children in many areas, from educating, entertaining, and comforting them. And with Jerice's assistance, he can help me out. Now, who is that?
Bandio.
And what does Bandio do?
Does the breathe.
Very good. Now, let's try another one. Can you tell me who this guy is? Who is this guy?
Temp.
And what does Temp do?
Put glasses on.
And what else does he do, though? What does Temp do? He checks what?
The temperature.
Very good. As you can see, my child is mentally challenged, and he still knows who these characters are and what they do. Just as normal children, every child is afraid of medical supplies. You see, when a child understands medical supplies through the Morning Buddy Medical Buddies, it's teaching them at a level of which they can understand, and that's through our cartoon animation. It shows the characters from medical supplies transforming into the Morning Buddy Medical Buddies. This allows the children to understand at a level of which they can, once again, through cartoon animation. It shows them that the medical supplies are helpful and not harmful, and at the same time to have fun and that they are their friend. Would you like to sing one of the Morning Buddy songs?
Yes.
Okay, let's sing the Tick-Tock Morning Buddy song. Tick-tock, 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 tick-tock. We all know who makes that sound. His arm goes round and round. Numbers from 1 to 12 on his face.
You get water now.
Telling us the time every day. Help me finish it. Tick, tock, tick, tock, tick, tock, tick. My personal experience from all of this has been a test of faith. If I take it back to the beginning, I would know if I would have my son the next hour, by nightfall, the next day. Every day I would pray and ask God to help me help him, and I just didn't know how I could do that. Surgery after surgery after surgery. There was a time when I had went into denial, and it wasn't until my mother told me one day that God just don't give those babies to anyone. I knew then that I had to take care of my son, no matter what, no matter how he turned out to be, no matter how many more surgeries we were faced. I had to do it. You know that saying, God doesn't give you more than you can handle. And it's true. There were times when I knew I was taking care of Jerice from sunup to sundown, sleepless nights, just exhausted. But yet, once he put that vision in me of the Morning Buddy Medical Buddies, I knew that was going to be a comfort to him, not only for myself, but for Jerice as well. I think it was more of an outlet for me. I would wake up in the middle of the night and run to my computer and start typing scripts. It would sometimes be 2 and 3 in the morning. It's amazing how the stories just kept coming one after another. I would try to sketch the characters as I visualized them in the stories. I am no artist, as you can see, but I tried to get it as close so that the real artist could see what I saw. Everyone was involved, my entire family. Everyone had a part. I would just wait for the guidance, and sure enough, it would come step by step. I couldn't wait to see the buddies come to life. So we made patterns, and then, before you know it, the pictures were then something I could hold, talk to, and even give Jay an example of what he feared so much and what he faced every day, of how God took me through a path that if I had my own choice, I wouldn't have chosen correctly. And by doing that, I would have missed out on learning how to accept my son's disabilities and challenges, along with these characters who helped him in every aspect of his illnesses. From the scrubs he was scared of that the doctors and nurses wore when he was in the hospital and even at the doctor's office, to the small instruments used by the same doctor when it was time for another surgery. I would continue to ask God, show me, tell me what's next on the list. No sooner than I asked, it came. Everything I could possibly make that would comfort my son and make the hospital a safe place, I made it. Whether I had the skills or not, he made it possible. And you're looking at it. 10 years of creating and making. Sometime I would ask, how am I going to do that? I don't know how to do that. Then I would hear this still voice answering, you will. And if it was something out of my power, that person would then appear at the right time to make it happen. I knew then the time had come to share with other families the joy, comfort, and continuous blessings of what I had the pleasure, pain, and joy of going through. And I will not stop until every child is aware of the Morning Buddies, Medical Buddies. I know what it did for my child. The buddies can do the same for yours. The one thing out of all of this I will never, ever forget. If you remember, I mentioned earlier about the incredible path that God takes you through. Well, in saying that, at the time of my pregnancy, we owned a daycare. It didn't take long to start getting children in. We were getting closer and closer to our capacity. And then one day, a mother came into my office with this special needs child. She had this tired, exhausted, frustrated look on her face. She asked me if we could please take care of her child. And with no hesitation, just concern for the child, I just didn't quite know what to say. I said, we'll take him. Nobody would take him. I don't know if they just didn't care or just didn't want to be bothered, but nobody wanted to take him. And she was trying to go to work. So I asked her, I said, you really must give me special instructions so I can then tell my staff how we were to care for little Brian. He wasn't a child that had machines or anything like that attached to him. You just can see that he couldn't talk, and he was mentally challenged, and he could walk, and boy, did he love music. His favorite song was The Ants Go Marching One by One. Raw, the ants go marching two by two. And I remember all the kids would gather around and we'd watch him sing that song. And then at the end of the song, you know, I think it said something about we'd fall to the ground and around and around. And Brian would just laugh. He would just laugh. And now I have my own little Brian. I have my own little special me child. All the while, God was preparing me for my own little Brian. I stop and I think back now, some of the things Therese is doing and go through. I remember Brian did just that. He literally placed that child in my center and prepared me for what I was about to encounter and go through for the remaining years that I have. And even at this point, I stop and I say, it's amazing how you have prepared me to handle my own special need child. And I really feel that's what I'm supposed to do. Prepare parents and let them know and comfort them, just as at the time when I comforted that woman, I really didn't know the value of that comfort. I see now. I see now. I now have my own little Brian. But his name is Therese Freeman. Now 10 years old. Total of 27 surgeries now. And still counting.
concept of the Morning Buddies is such a powerful concept. And what makes it such a wonderful concept is the woman behind it. It's a dedicated mother who had a challenge and turned something that was challenging into an opportunity. This is something that comes once in a lifetime when you get, what we call it, a stroke of genius, and Morning Buddies is a stroke of genius.
Let me talk to you about Teresa. But before I do, when I was preparing to talk to you about Teresa, I read my devotion this morning, and it happened to be on hobbies. And I thought about Teresa immediately. Teresa does not have a hobby. Teresa has a passion that is never ending. And this passion rejuvenates her spirit and completely invigorates her. Every time she talks about it, she lives it, eats it, breathes it, sleeps it, drinks it, everything. Her passion is the Morning Buddies, Medical Buddies. And the passion is there because it has to do with her son, Therese. I've known Teresa for maybe 3 years, I'd say. I've worked with her very closely. We become friends. We have fought. We have cried. We have laughed together. It's amazing. I don't think I've ever had a friend like Teresa that I could fight with like we do. Where, I mean, she's so mad at me. She's like, I don't want to hear it. But we still love each other. And I don't ever have that doubt with her. I've had, other friends in my life that I've had arguments with or whatever, and I could have a doubt as to whether our friendship was going to be the same when we came out to the other end of that argument, but I've never had that doubt with Teresa. I always know where I stand with Teresa, and she's just been an incredible blessing in my life. I'm just so thankful that she's a part of my life. I mean, Teresa is family to me. She loves my daughter. She loves my husband. I could call Teresa in a moment's notice and say, I need this or that, and she would drop everything and come to my rescue because that's just who she is. I've watched Teresa work herself to death. I mean, I have said to her, you are one of the most resilient people that I've ever met in my life, because she can be sick down in the bed. She's still taking care of her baby. She's still taking care of business and goes right back to doing what she was doing before. It's just amazing how God has made her. I've just watched her as she's done everything possible to push this passion forward. The things that really stuck out to me, and today it really has stuck out to me, is that they say that these things are tools, and I think tools is such a mechanical word because they are comfort. Creatures of comfort, I think. The characters are just so needed in children's lives. If people only realize, every time I go somewhere, when I go to the doctor, you go to the school, you go anywhere, and you see a need for these, because kids are always going to have to go to the doctor. They're always going to have to experience things that a lot of times as parents we have no clue how to comfort them and how to make life easier for them, and that's what we want to do as parents. Any way that we can shield our children from hurting, that's what we want to do. And so these characters that Teresa has come up with, that God has birthed into her life in the form of her son, they do that. I know that I'm supposed to be talking about Teresa, and here I am talking about the Medical Buddies, but they go hand in hand with who Teresa is. That's her life. And now Teresa is, in even making this video, Teresa's getting a glimpse of how God has orchestrated everything in her life and why he's doing this and why he did that. I mean, that's an incredible thing. A lot of us never know that until we're on the other end, until we die and go to heaven, to know the purpose that God has for our life. And Teresa gets to realize that purpose now. It's not even the future. It's now that God is working his purpose in her life. And that purpose is to bring comfort and joy to children. that's an incredible purpose, because children are very special to the Lord. That's what the Bible says. The children are very special to them. And to be able to love on the children and protect the children and comfort the children, that's what Teresa's doing right now with the Morning Buddies, Medical Buddies. And I just want to say thank you to Teresa for being a blessing in my life, for loving on my daughter, and for loving me through the good, the bad, and the ugly, and for letting me be a part of the excitement of what's going on in her life. And I just hope and pray that this is a pivotal point in the passion that God's given Teresa, that this video just brings it all out. And it says in Psalms 37:4, it says, "Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart." And this is a desire of Teresa's heart. This is a desire. And I can tell you, God is going to bless that desire. God is going to give you the desires of your heart, Teresa. He is giving you. Just reach for them right now. Don't be looking what's coming in the future. Look for right now, because that's where they are. I love you, Teresa.
It's just proof that with a passionate mother and an inspirational child in the hand of God, anything can happen. Most people consider the birth of a special needs child to be a burden, but Teresa took it on as a mandate from God, and she never considered Teresa to be a burden. From day one, it was like He inspired her to be a better mother and a better person in general. We're talking about a lady who has no formal education or training in design, television, film, broadcast of any type, but yet she's made commercials, live productions. She's done curriculums for school children. She's put on, she created an animated series, all out of the passion and that's in her and the inspiration from her child. Like, her goal isn't just for some success. Her goal is to comfort her child, to make sure that he doesn't have to deal with the pain from the inside of his home, because he's definitely going to deal with it from outside. Knowing that his greatest fears came at the hands of doctors' medical instruments, she wanted to change that fear into fun, which led to the creation of Morning Buddies, Medical Buddies. So I wish all my best, my prayers, my everything, that Teresa and little Jerice just have the best life ever.
What can I say about Teresa? I worked with her for about 3 years, and Teresa was such an inspiration to me. She came when her son was old enough to go to school, and I had some concerns at first because I know what it's like to work with a child, and having a heart for children, I wanted her to be available for Jerice whenever she needed him. So Teresa came on anyway because she was determined, and that's the one thing that really sticks out about Teresa, is that she takes on any challenge, and she's not ever being known to say, I can't do it. And so just watching her work with Jerice and run to his side whenever he needed her, but yet and still juggling everything that she had to do at work was just mind-boggling to me. And so one day she came in and she was telling me kind of anxiously, I got this something I want to show you, and she showed me the old copy I have of the Morning Buddies, and I'd never heard that concept before, but having worked with children at an early age, I understood where she was going with this and saw the need to help children get through the scary parts of things we do to them when they go to the doctor, and having to work with my own child once with 3 nurses trying to hold her down just so they can give her a shot. I thought, this is really a good deal. And so I'm just really excited to see what Teresa is doing with the help of the Lord. I know she'd give him credit for that, but just to see her take her own passion and her love for her son and want to help other people give their children some hope and to ease the fears and pains, it's just a wonderful thing. So I'm just really excited to see what's going to happen in the future with Morning Buddies and Jerice. I know he has something to offer this world. I've seen him in worship just clapping and singing, and I thought, if this child can do this, then there's some hope for everybody else. But we really need to give those children that hope when they're going through those difficult times, and let them know that they're not alone, and that they do have not only morning buddies, but they have buddies with them all the time, but they just need us to help. And we need more people like Teresa who will take her trials and turn them into a triumph for the rest of the world. And so I'm just waiting for everybody to see what the Morning Buddies will do through Teresa and Jerice.
I kind of have a different perspective on the Morning Buddies compared to everyone else. Most people only get to see the polished version of what they are today. But I remember the first sketches. I remember the very first songs, trying to come up with them that I hear kids singing today by memory. I remember helping her write the words and coming up with melodies. Actually, and no one really knows this, so you gotta appreciate this exclusiveness. Morning Buddies, it came to me in a dream. And I'm just kidding. With God, only He could put together such a concept with that seems so effortless, you know. I can actually recall the day my mom came to me with the concept. I was about 8 or 9 years old, and she showed me on a piece of paper this horribly drawn stick figure with glasses, and it was supposed to be a thermometer, and she called it Tim. And then came the Band-Aid and the scissors, and before I knew it, she had a whole team kind of medical supplies that were animated, and they were supposed to comfort the kids. Of course I thought she was crazy, but I kind of did a little nod and smile thing, so she didn't really pick up on it. She was convinced that this was going to be the thing to help all children, you know, whenever they were having trouble going to the doctors and stuff. But I mean, like all great things, they started out sounding pretty crazy, but with hard work and long hours and sacrifices, being shut down time and time and time and time again, slowly I started to see my mom's dream become a reality. And it's here, and it's ready. It's just waiting for the rest of the world to jump on board. Mom, I still think you're crazy, but it's a creative crazy, and it's come a long way. We're gonna make it one day.